Welcome to Lead with Linnea, where we talk about real leadership for real people in the real world. I'm Linnea Rader, and I've spent 2 decades in public service leadership. From accounting to my current role as the Director of Finance and Human Resources, I've seen pretty much everything. The spectacular successes, the painful failures, and everything in between that makes leadership both challenging and incredibly rewarding. Here's the thing. Leadership is not reserved for people with fancy titles or corner offices. Every single one of us can be a leader in our personal and professional lives. Whether you're managing a team of 50 or just trying to figure out how to navigate office politics, whether you're a frontline worker or sitting around a boardroom table, leadership skills matter. My approach? I skip the fluff and get straight to what really works. You won't find theoretical frameworks or feel-good platitudes here. Instead, you'll get practical, tested strategies from someone who's been in the trenches, made the mistakes, and learned the hard lessons so that you don't have to. Through Lead with Linnea, I provide leadership development training and coaching because I'm passionate about helping people discover their authentic leadership potential. And honestly, some days you need to laugh to keep from crying, and some days you just need someone to tell you the truth about what leadership really looks like. So whether you're listening while you commute, taking a walk, or just need someone to remind you that you've got this, I'm here for you. So let's dive in and talk about what it really takes to lead with authenticity, impact, and maybe a little bit of sanity. Ready? Let's go. Self-management, the emotional intelligence skill that changes everything. I've said it 1,000 times before. My emotions, they used to flow out of me like a water faucet on a full blast. Controlling my emotions has been a top priority for me for at least a decade. I'm happy to report that outbursts are few currently, at least at work. At home, I'm less practiced and far worse at it. My oldest son is a challenge. He loves poking the bear and loves acting in ways I neither appreciate nor will I tolerate. I try to address situations well, but for some reason, my frustrations with him cause me to lose my cool more than with anyone else. So while I'm writing this post about self-management as a critical leadership skill, I'm also sitting here fully aware that I haven't mastered it yet, not even close. I've just gotten better at it in certain contexts. And honestly, that's the reality of self-management. It's not about perfection. It's about progress and recognizing that the work never really ends. So what self-management actually is. Self-management is your ability to manage your emotional reactions and behaviors in a way that serves you rather than sabotages you. It's the pause between feeling something and acting on it. It's choosing your response rather than defaulting to your impulses. It builds directly on self-awareness. You can't manage emotions that you don't recognize. But awareness alone isn't enough. You also need the ability to do something productive with what you're feeling. Self-management doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or pretending you don't feel things. It means feeling them without letting them control you. It means responding thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. In my first post about emotional intelligence, I mentioned that I used to be very emotionally driven. If something frustrated me, you knew it. My face told the whole story before my mouth even opened. That lack of self-management created problems I didn't even recognize at the time. It affected my credibility, my relationships, and my effectiveness. People couldn't trust how I'd react, so they'd start managing around me instead of working with me. When self-management makes the difference. I was presenting to a large group when an individual who seems to enjoy spinning statements tried to take what I was saying and turn it around. This person wasn't trying to clarify or understand. They were trying to stir the pot and create drama. A few years ago, I might have gotten flustered, gotten defensive, engaged in a way that would have escalated the situation and derailed the entire presentation. Instead, I quickly, professionally, and calmly made eye contact with the individual and stated that we weren't going to be doing that or that we would have a conversation later about it. Then I continued the presentation. It was a blip that most of the room didn't even notice. But without that moment of self-management, if that person had gained support, their spin would have confused people. It would have created chaos around a topic that didn't even make sense with what we were discussing. Self-management gave me the ability to shut down the disruption without creating a bigger problem. That's what it does. It gives you options beyond your immediate emotional reaction. The hardest part, when people lob bombs. Working in public works, people seem to love lobbing statements at you like bombs. They hurt. They aren't factual. They aren't real. They're lobbed in to cause chaos and reacting to zero good. But not reacting, that's hard. When people are making statements about you that are blatantly false, it's incredibly difficult not to defend yourself. You want to right the inaccurate. You want everyone to know the truth. But here's the harsh reality. Those people don't want to hear the truth or facts. They want a reaction. And if you give them one, they win. This is where self-management becomes absolutely critical. You have to manage your frustration, your anger, your desire to set the record straight. You have to choose the response that actually serves you, rather than the one that feels satisfying in the moment. Personal attacks are hard to manage, but worse are lies, half-truths, or attempts to mislead people. To me, it's one thing if someone doesn't understand and asks a question. It's a completely different story when someone is blatantly lying, trying to get an emotional reaction, and mislead people. Those are my triggers, and managing them is still hard work. When self-management is missing, when emotions control decisions and actions, the outcome is disastrous in public environments. I worked with an individual when faced with people who didn't agree with their thoughts, got angry. They raised their voice. They pounded their hand on the desk. They demanded agreement. The outcome? When it was time for discussions, nobody made any suggestions. If they disagreed with the direction, they said nothing because they knew the outcome would be an emotional reaction. If you're a leader and this is the way you act, your team will not respect you. Your team will not engage with you. They will not trust you. They'll tell you what you want to hear. They'll keep their heads down. They'll wait for you to leave the room before they say what they really think. And you'll make worse decisions because you scared away the honest feedback and diverse perspectives you actually need. That's what happens when self-management is missing. It doesn't just affect you. It affects everyone around you and every decision that gets made. Self-management in HR, a requirement, not optional. In HR, self-management isn't a nice-to-have skill. It's a requirement. You can't act emotionally. You have to work with teams in a lot of different ways. You find ways to improve the employee experience. You have to perform investigations and be impartial. You have to coach, guide, and discipline. If you don't manage your emotions, you won't be doing anyone any good. I've sat in meetings where people get angry, defensive, or upset. I've heard accusations that made my blood boil. I've dealt with situations where I personally disagreed with someone's choices or behavior. But my job isn't to react based on my feelings. My job is to be fair, objective, and helpful. That requires managing whatever I'm feeling in the moment and choosing a response that actually serves the situation. It's exhausting sometimes, but it's necessary. How I've developed self-management. The best strategy I found is to pause. Most of the time, you don't have to react instantly. A few seconds of a pause can allow you to gather your thoughts, take a few breaths, and respond in a completely different way. That pause is the space between stimulus and response, and it's where all of your power lies. Another strategy that's been helpful to me is to really define who it is that I want to be and how I want to be perceived. Then I have to realize that the way I act and respond will define me. If you want to be authentic to yourself, you have to choose how to react. You can't claim to value professionalism and then lose it every time you're frustrated. You can't say you want to be a steady leader and then bring chaos with your emotional reactions. Your actions define you more than your intentions ever will. I've also learned to recognize my triggers. Lies and misleading statements frustrate me every time. Knowing that helps me prepare. When I see it coming, I can brace myself. I can plan my response instead of defaulting to my gut reaction. The reality, I'm still working on this. I struggle when my triggers are pressed. It's hard, but it's manageable. I'll always be a work in progress. I can always do better, learn, and grow. And if I'm being completely honest, my struggles at home with my son remind me that self-management in one context doesn't automatically transfer to another. The work is ongoing and it looks different in different relationships and different situations. That's okay. Progress isn't perfection. It's just being better today than you were yesterday. So, practical ways to build self-management. If you're recognizing that self-management is an area you need to develop, here's where to start. Practice the pause. Before you respond, take a breath. Count to 3. Give yourself even just a few seconds to choose your reaction instead of defaulting to your impulse. Identify your triggers. What situations constantly make you lose your cool? What pushes your buttons? Once you know your triggers, you can prepare for them. Define who you want to be. Get clear on the leader you want to be and how you want to show up. Then use that as your North Star when deciding how to respond in difficult moments. Manage your stress. Self-management gets harder when you're already stressed, tired, or overwhelmed. Take care of yourself so that you have the capacity to manage your reaction when it matters. Learn from your failures. You are going to mess up. You are going to act poorly sometimes. When you do, examine what happened. What triggered you? What could you do differently next time? Each failure is data you can use to get better. Find healthy outlets. You still need to process your emotions. Find appropriate places and people where you can vent, decompress, and work through what you're feeling without it affecting your professional relationships. Why self-management matters. Self-management is what separates reactive people from responsive leaders. It's what allows you to stay steady when everything around you is chaotic. It's what builds trust with your team because they know you won't add your own emotional chaos to an already difficult situation. It's also what protects your credibility. When you manage yourself well, people take you seriously. They know you can handle pressure. They trust your judgment because it's not clouded by unchecked emotions. Without self-management, all your other skills become less effective. You might be brilliant, but if you can't control your reactions, people will work around you. You might care deeply, but if you express it through emotional outbursts, people will dismiss you. Self-management gives you the ability to channel your emotions productively instead of destructively. It gives you choices instead of just reactions. The ongoing work. Self-management isn't something you achieve and check off your list. It's ongoing work that shows up differently in different contexts and gets tested in new ways throughout your career and life. I'm better than I was 10 years ago. I'll hopefully be better at it 10 years from now than I am today. And I'll still be working on it because that's the nature of this skill. But the work is worth it. Every time I choose a thoughtful response over an impulsive reaction, I'm building the kind of leader I want to be. Every time I pause instead of reacting, I'm creating space for better outcomes. That's what self-management gives you, the ability to be intentional about who you are and how you show up, even when your emotions are screaming at you to do something else. How has developing self-management changed your leadership? What strategies help you manage your emotions effectively? Share your experiences in the comments. Thank you for joining me today on Lead with Linnea. I hope something we talked about resonates with you and gives you a tool you can actually use in your leadership journey. Remember, leadership isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional, authentic, and willing to keep learning and growing. You're going to face situations you never saw coming. Make decisions that feel impossible, and sometimes wonder if you're cut out for this whole leadership thing. It's normal. It's human. And that's exactly why we need leaders like you who are willing to do the hard work. If today's episode sparked some ideas about training or coaching for you or your team, I'd love to hear from you. You can reach me at Linnea at leadwithlinnea.com or give me a call at 269-621-5282. Whether you're looking for one-on-one coaching, team training, or need someone to speak at your next event, let's talk about how we can help you and your people become the leaders your organization needs. You can find more resources, read my blog post, and learn more all about my services at leadwithlinnea.com. As always, carry social kindness with you everywhere you go. This world needs you and your positive mindset. Until next time, keep leading and keep growing.